Everybody, and welcome to another reaction video. Today we have Resident Evil Village first ever PS4 Pro gameplay. So we've got the demo already that was available on the PlayStation, and it looked pretty good. I checked it out myself. I don't have I have a PS4 Pro, but I believe it was only a PS5 demo. Don't quote me on that. But I remember looking at it, it looked really good, really intriguing. It was just a walk-around demo. It wasn't actually anything extensive, like in terms of shooting or combat or anything like that. And I'm really looking forward to this game. I will more than likely be playing this on the channel, but I can't completely confirm that because circumstances can change. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing this. I'm curious how it's going to run on the PS4 Pro. I'm curious if it's going to be 60 FPS, 30 FPS. I'm not sure if they've announced a specific frame rate. But anyway, let's get into it. IGN first. She's a big lady. Ooh. Oh, gee. Oh, that's terrifying. A 9-foot woman walking around. That's the hat that intimidates me. Those textures, the engravings on the door did not look the best then. I'm not sure. I can't tell if it looks a bit choppy. It might be 30 FPS. Could be 60. I'm not actually sure. Maybe it fluctuates between them. Maybe it's not a locked frame rate, but usually for consoles it is. He's got his knife. Hopefully we'll see some actual fighting here going on. Torture chairs and the whole, you know... Oh, that's a lot of blood.
What the hell?
Oh, yeah, of course. It's Ethan, isn't it? You're playing as Ethan again in this, so I'm looking forward to playing that. Ooh, here we go. I want to see what the shooting's like. It seems... Okay. I'll share my impressions after, but... Whoa, fucking hell. Alright, that caught me off guard then. You see... Ooh, that reload animation was so slick. Oh, I like that. That was a good animation. That really caught me off guard then. I wasn't expecting them to come out the wall. See, I'm getting, like, a little bit jumped by... I'm getting a little bit jumped by just watching a demo. Hey, shot out his hand. Oh, that reload animation is so good. I'm a big fan of really good animations for reloading weapons. He's got a shotgun now. The combat looks a lot more, like, fluid compared to Resident Evil 7. I wouldn't compare it to any of the other Resident Evils, because obviously they're, like, third person. It's a very different. The only one you can compare it to, really, is Resident Evil in terms of gameplay. In terms of, like, the shooting and stuff like that, because it's obviously first person. There's one in front of you. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Oh, craft ammo. Open the inventory to craft ammo. So it looks like he's picking up a lot more money that is like money off all the corpses, like in Resident Evil like 4 and 5. I've never played Resident Evil 4 actually. So I can't speak. The only experience I can speak from the other Resident Evil games is RE2 Remake, RE3 Remake, and Resident Evil 5. Those are the only ones I can speak on or compare them to. Although I do understand they're trying to go back to like Resident Evil 4 vibes, aren't they? That's what I've heard, like vague stuff like that. Oh my god, look at that statue. That mannequin on the background. How can she not see him? I guess that's what happens when you're that tall.
Mother Miranda, I regret to inform you that Ethan Winters has escaped that fool Heisenberg. Because he is in my castle.
There's a photo mode.
Too much for my daughters to handle. When I find him... No, Mother Miranda.
This was in the other trailer.
Yes, of course, I understand the importance of the ceremony. I won't let you down. To hell with the ceremony! That man will pay for what he's done.
Oof. What did Ethan do then? Interesting. Okay, leaves you on a little, you know. One thing I noticed then, in the bottom right... Where is it? There you go. Skip photo mode in the bottom right there. So there will be a photo mode on launch then, by the looks of it. And I love me a good photo mode, so that's a good thing. What I felt in comparison to Resident Evil 7, it seemed a lot more switching between the guns and the aiming seemed a lot more fluid. It looked like a bit more agile, if that makes sense. Because in Resident Evil 7, it did feel like very weighty, but also like a bit static or choppy, if that makes sense, with the gunplay in Resident Evil 7. Whereas this, just judging from what I'm seeing, it looks a bit more just like freed up and a bit more agile. I can't really explain it any other way, but it just seems more mobile. Maybe it's the way it's animated, could be that, but it just definitely seems a lot more mobile and energetic. And he seems to be walking a bit faster than he did in Resident Evil 7. That might just be me misremembering Resident Evil 7, and it could be the same walk speed for all I know. But it looks like, in terms of the speed of it, it seems a tiny bit faster. Because obviously they don't want to go into the same pitfall of... They don't want to go into the same pitfall of making... like some really good Resident Evil games that felt like Resident, and then make these really action-packed, fast-paced games that ended up deteriorating the series rather than improving on it. And I think that's quite interesting and important to know. I think they're really trying to take baby steps in the changes they make in the gameplay here to not make it too action-y and to still have the weight of the horror and like the tenseness in the background of it. I could definitely feel that. And it seems a little bit more agile and a bit faster than Resident Evil 7, but not so much to the point where it's lost its gravitas in the gameplay. Like switching the shotgun then, that was a lot quicker. Yeah, I don't know, it looks good. It looks really fun to play, and it looks intense, scary. I mean, the initial, the creature coming out of the water the first time just startled me a bit. So when I'm playing the game myself and I'm a lot more engrossed in it, it's definitely going to catch me, I'm sure, in plenty of occasions. And I'm curious if at the beginning here, when you see, I forget her name, it's like Lady Demasu or something like that. It's the name of the castle, I believe, is her second name, and I can't remember what it was. It was in the previous demo that came out. But she seems like she's going to play a Mr. X role or something along those lines, where she is like lumbering around. She's like, you can hear her footsteps from far away, and she can't be killed sort of thing. She's a bit like a tyrant in that sense. They are called tyrants, aren't they? She's a bit like a tyrant in that sense, where, like Mr. X, where they're lumbering around. She could be staggered but never be killed. So she's a constant threat in the background, and you have to either run, stagger, or, you know, just have some creative way of trying to make distance sort of thing. So I could definitely see it, and it just seemed that way at the beginning when she was going up the stairs. It definitely felt like that. That could be the case for her character. And then obviously there's the two daughters. I believe they're her daughters. That's my assumption, although that may not be true in this case. But in the beginning here, if you see her walk up these steps when he walks through it. Also, these textures on the door, the engravings, they don't look the best, but I guess the game is trying to evolve now graphically, and I think this will probably be the last Resident Evil game that's on the previous gen, the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X. So they look quite like not that detailed. You know, I think the game is now graphics are starting to get to a point where this will probably be the last of the previous gen Resident Evils, and now every Resident Evil game from here is probably, unless it's like some sort of multiplayer mode or like they're doing for this game, which actually it's not its own game, is it? But like the next mainline Resident Evil installment will most likely be only the current gen now, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and Series S. So yeah, I'm happy to see games moving along now when they've got the new power of the new consoles to, which no, I can't get my hands on still, unfortunately. I really wanted to get a PS5, but there you go. It's good to see, though, that with so much more power at their fingertips for the devs, they can do so much more, so much bigger scope and detail, or, you know, even smaller, like just small contained games, but with an extreme amount of detail and like graphical fidelity. And I can't wait to see what Resident Evil will now accomplish with, and any franchise for that matter, that's going to continue going on, like the Elder Scrolls and stuff like that. I cannot wait to see this, like, what they can accomplish with the new power. But if you look at the Lady Diramasu, whatever her name is, we'll call her Lady X. She's like walking up the steps in a very Mr. X way, it reminded me of. Like, it didn't look natural. If you look at the way she rounds the corner, maybe it's just not well animated, but that looks like she's on her own AI path, right? That looks like she's that looks like an AI that is following a script, or not a script, but following its commands to go walk around and wander the place. That doesn't look like a scripted. That doesn't look like a scripted moment. It looks like it was like the AI doing its own thing. Obviously, I think it's probably not a coincidence that he's going through the doors and she's there. It's probably designed by that. Maybe it's done specifically for the trailer to throw you off, thinking it is scripted. But I got a feeling that isn't scripted. Judging by the way, it doesn't look natural. It doesn't look like, if it is supposed to be scripted, then it is, I guess. But just the way it looked like she hovered around the corner rather than actually physically walking. So, and it skips ahead here, see? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, see, it skipped ahead there. I got a feeling that was a section where you only had your knife and she's walking around the place and you've got to avoid her. I have a good feeling that's probably what that is. And you can quote me on that. So when the damn game comes out, I was right. Let's have a look here. So, yeah, gunplay looks really good. It looks fairly similar to Resident Evil 7. Like I said, it just, the way it's animated makes it feel a bit more fluid. I hate any water section like this, so that's going to be terrifying for me. Aside from that, it didn't really show anything revolutionary or, like, different. So they're collecting coins and stuff like that, just like, I'm pretty sure it was the case in Resident Evil 4, but when you killed enemies, and in Resident Evil 5, when you kill enemies, you get coins, and then you can, I believe they said there is like a merchant character in this, and you can buy weapons off him, or ammunition, tool, like, you know, all the little bits and bobs, and with the coin that you make. And pick up off the dead. Because they showed that in one of in the reveal, didn't they? So I'm not sure how you pronounce that currency. It's like Lee or Lee. I don't know. LEI. It's anyone's guess. But in terms of artistic style, it's very, because I have seen gameplay from Resident Evil 4. It's very reminiscent of Resident Evil 4, and I like that a lot. I think that's really cool. You know, I'm not sure if it's going to be set, like, it doesn't look like it's set anywhere near the original Resident Evil, the only Resident Evil 4. There isn't an original or a remake, although there is a remake on the way, I believe. But there has been for a while now. But yeah, obviously the area is not, it's not the same area as Resident Evil 4, I don't think. But it's definitely got its own sort of European castle, like art style and design of a castle. It looks really good. A lot of people have said it's reminiscent of Bloodborne, but I believe Bloodborne took, like, it has like a, like, gothic, but like European style flair to it. So I'm really looking forward to it, and it's a terrifying setting for Resident Evil. It works. I mean, the last Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 4 had a castle in it, and that was considered the best in the series. So, yeah. Ooh, hang on. Interesting. Bit of, you know, this is being really nitpicky and not really a big thing, but when he's reloading, the bottom of his thumb, you can't see it because it's so quick, so it's not really that much of a thing, but you see his thumb, it clips through the oh, I'm not going to unsee that now. I wish I didn't notice that. Anyway, that's just nitpicking anyway. That's like, you know, you can't scrutinize everything, little things like that, because it happens so quick in the moment, you'd never notice it, and you probably would never, not many people will notice that. It's just I happened to pause it on it. If I didn't pause on it, that would have never been an issue for me. So there's no point scrutinizing that. But the atmosphere seems set. It seems, you know, it's got that tense vibes to it. I mean, this is such a small section of the game. We have no idea if there are any other mechanics that they're adding. I know there's like a kick that they've added to the game now. They showed that in the very early demo, or the very early footage of gameplay. So there's like a kick mechanic, but aside from that, they haven't really shown anything revolutionary. It just seems to be graphically, the lighting, you know, they've kind of like, what's the word? Made the gunplay like more fine-tuned and a bit more specific, if that makes sense, for what they're going for. And it looks good. Oh, that shotgun actually has engravings on it. I did not realize that. And this is on PS4 Pro as well. I mean, this isn't the best the game's going to look. This isn't even next gen, the current gen. This is old gen now. So it's quite... It's obviously the frame rate's going to be... I feels like it's running at 30. It doesn't feel like it's running at 60. But I've been playing a lot of games recently at like 120 to 140 frames per second. So when you're playing at that frame rate and you go back down to 60 feels choppy when you're watching it. So I'm assuming PS5 and I'm sure will be locked to 60 on consoles, and Xbox Series X. I'm sure it'll be locked to 60, maybe even higher. I don't know. Maybe there's a performance mode where it's not 4K, it's like 1080p, 120 frames per second. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I should look it up after to see if they've announced specific details on frame rates and fidelity. But yeah, I can't wait for Resident Evil Village. There is a gameplay demo coming out in this month of April, I believe. Yeah, there is one. There is. I'm pretty sure there's a gameplay demo coming out for PC soon, so I can't wait for that. That's going to be really fun. Really looking forward to that. And I will more than likely be playing this game when it comes out, much to my dismay. Because I love again, it's horror games. Horror games is like, I have a love-hate relationship with them. Usually the gameplay in horror games is fun, interesting, it's new, because it's obviously trying to intimidate you, which is like the thrill of it. It's what makes it, lures you in. And then often I find horror films and horror games, the stories often intrigue me because they're a lot darker and they're a lot more nuanced, if that makes sense. It makes me want to watch them, or you know, I refuse to watch horror films, but it makes me intrigued to watch them or to play the games. And I mean, I've played a lot of horror games, but it's like, but I get terrified so easily. It's a love-hate relationship with horror games. But yeah, anyway, I've done my rambling. That's about as much analysis as I could do of the gameplay trailer at first sight. Maybe if I had an in-depth look, maybe I could spot some other things. But off my first glance, it looks okay. It looks fun, and I can't wait. It looks good. I didn't notice any negatives apart from some of the graphic fidelity in the PS4 Pro, but I will be playing on PC, so I don't really have to worry about that. Yeah, I have nothing else to add to the topic. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown and reaction, and I'll see you all in the next part. Goodbye, guys.